Bada bing, bada boom.
There it is. That sweet, sweet sound of another episode starting.
Welcome back to the episode.
It's Jack Black.
Yeah, there you go. It's just this is a sample pack I pulled together from like the season one, just randomly. It's samples from Travis Barker and Serge Tankian from System, and then there was another like metal band. I can't remember who it was, but like I pulled all the samples together from three people. So we got like three bands in here. We got Travis Barker, Blink 182, System of a Down. That's who made
just
that
for
intro
us.
track.
Yeah,
just for us. All original.
Nice.
You know.
Nice.
We go way back. We go
Feel
way
like
back.
you're a regular girl talk.
Yes, exactly. Just called up Serge and been like, "Hey, I have a Onewheel podcast. Do you mind stopping?
Do you mind laying down a track or two tonight?"
And then who do we have on security again?
Yeah, Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Dwayne The Rock
still.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Dwayne
rain or shine.
still-
He's
still
standing
hanging
out
outside.
there right now.
Yeah, he really is.
I just bought him a drink, actually.
Well, he yeah.
He-
The Zoas just aren't that good. I'm sorry, Dwayne.
oh. There's a knock at the door. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Anyway,
Episode 2. This is going to be episode 2, technically. So we kicked off season 2, episode 1 with talking about Vesk. And episode 2, I just had to have my dude on here. I wanted to get you on season 1, and then we just, time flies, things move around. But we have with us today the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Justyn Thompson. What's
How's
up,
it going,
Justyn?
y'all?
Dude, welcome.
welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
I'm stoked to be here. Yeah, it's awesome. We're just fresh off Western ORL qualifiers. Just got back yesterday from San Jose and Reno, and getting ready for Race for the Rail. And
Yeah, has Race for the Rail dates been announced yet or anything?
they did announce dates, and they announced it would be near Reno. And
Ooh.
dates are. Here we go. August 19th, 2021st.
1920.
That weekend, and
Okay.
I believe we will have time, even days up to that.
All right. Are they do you know if are they gonna live stream it?
Oh yes,
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
That's what we were just out there after Western qualifiers, checking out the course, seeing how to lay everything out with John Grace and Chelsea Grace from Amongst It, and Jack and Laser and all the team. And just figuring it all out. It's looking good. It'll be a fun spot. I think everybody will really enjoy it up there. There's some really great trails for people just hanging out.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a pretty epic spot.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, dude, Reno, that's so far from us. I don't know if we'd be able to make it at that point, but I think it'd be a fun idea.
Certainly no airplanes go there.
What if we do like we could do some coverage, like we could watch and do a little bit of feedback and stuff, like watch the live stream, see what's happening. I'd love to be
There you
out
go.
there and just cover
Yeah.
it. It'd be a blast, but dude, we all got kids and shit and businesses and
Yeah.
I fully relate there.
It's,
Definitely I have jobs. I have a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
jobs.
It's less easy to just drop it all, but pretty worth it. I mean, maybe we could cover something. That'd be sweet.
I think it'd be fun to cover it up.
You can always just send me.
But yeah, also getting ready for FloatLife Fest. I'm headed out
Yes.
to Bentonville this week, this coming week, and just kind of starting to been planning, but just gonna go meet with some of the folks in town officials and Kohler officials, and just
Nice.
get some more things laid out. Just more definitive what little things we're changing this year. There should be probably some pretty big changes as far as some of the courses. At least the XR course, obviously Thunderdome is Thunderdome, and that's our dual slalom course there, so that won't change at all. But as far as the other, our XR, now the GT race will change a bit, especially with their, we're not totally sure. We haven't gone out. Well, I've been out there and ridden it, but they have access now. There's paved trail up to the top. If people knew, Fireline Trail is just an epic trail out there, but we didn't really, it was a really tough trail to get up to it. So it wasn't as easily accessible. You know, you definitely had to carry your board a lot, that sort of thing, but well worth it. Well worth the carry. But, you know, now there's a smooth, like paved trail all the way to the top. So it's opens up that whole area over there at Kohler for us this year.
So
with some really cool tech line spots. If we do decide to do some tech line challenges, which may come out this year at FloatLife Fest as well.
Nice.
After some of the success of dirt surfers with their Sin Sesh and working with Function there with Dave Stewart, and already talking to Dave a little bit about that, and Nick as well over at Dirt Surfers. And
Yeah, shout out Dave. I was just talking with him a little bit about maybe like doing we're looking at doing like a community episode style thing and doing like some giveaways and getting some, you know, some more one wheel products out there. So I was just having a conversation with Dave and dude, shout out Function.
He's the man.
Such a rad dude.
From
What I hear. Yeah. So for people, here's my question. So for people who don't know you, I mean, part of what we typically do, we want to ask you like, how'd you get into one wheel and stuff like that. But real quick before we do that, as far as like introductions go, we've recently, you know, some people have been watching our podcast and leaving feedback and saying like, oh, I don't have a one wheel yet, but I'm watching your stuff and I'm getting really stoked. Or my one wheel's on the way and I just am consuming all the one wheel stuff that I can. But some of those people aren't going to know who you are. So can you just give us a little, like a shameless plug for yourself right now and just talk about how you're connected and what you do and all that?
Sure. Well, you know, basically, originally, you know, I'm honestly like from the whitewater kayaking world, rafting. I was a raft guide for years. I was kayak instructor, kayak guide, all over the place. Really fun, you know, Southeast especially, you know, but, and that's, sorry, my phone just keeps ringing.
It's our jingle,
but
man.
then from there, I started, I worked for a company called Watershed Dry Bags for about 22 years, designed and made waterproof bags. We did bags for the military, drybags.com. Check them out. Awesome company. Best waterproof bags in the world. And then went from there. We had a store called Southern Raft Supply, selling rafting goods, that sort of thing. Went to a trade show the first year that One Wheel ever came to outdoor retailer. And we were buying new products for the store, trying to think of new cool things. And I grew up skateboarding, loved skateboarding as a kid. Went, you know, saw this One Wheel. I'm like, I'd only seen him a little bit online at that point. I was actually considering bringing boosted boards into the store just because I rode one of those at the Miami Boat Show. It was like, oh, this is sick. You know, it was the first year they'd had those. But, you know, I live in the mountains. I was like, how's that really going to be on the road, you know, with steep hills, that sort of thing. Went to an outdoor retailer. The whole One Wheel crowd was there. They were doing One Wheel demos for the first time ever with the V1. You know, I tried it the first day. It was like, that's so sick. You know, I think I about took Julian out. Julian was showing me how to ride it. And I was like, oh, I skateboard. I got on it, did the typical like back and forth thing. And, you know, was swatting at Julian and, you know, like grabbed him. But, you know, he was like, just calm down. I was like, okay, got it. You know, I did the typical same thing everybody else does, you know, and, but then rode it around, was just like, that's so awesome. I really want to sell those. My partner at the time was like, no way, we're not selling that shit. You know, he's like, that's stupid. But then his daughter tried it on the last day. And so she got the final call and he was like, here's the dealer info. I guess we could do that. I know I want one, you want one, you know, and it was like, cool, like awesome. But we brought him into the store. We sold them for 5 years. We closed the store a few years ago, right before the pandemic started. But we became the biggest One Wheel dealer in the country for a number of years. During that time, Luke Hopkins was a rep when we first got the boards, and he lives here in Asheville, North Carolina. He owns Badfish stand-up paddle boards and works with Mike T and those guys. You know, Mike T from One Wheel, yep. Mike Tavares, and but Luke was one of the original reps, and so we ended up kind of having really the first little One Wheel race like behind my store, which was like I was looking at it this year. It was like May 14th, 2016, I believe, something like that. And Luke, like, he just set up all these like stand-up paddle boards, and you had to like ride over them and do this little like obstacle course. Beginning of the obstacle course, you had to grab a donut, and you were eating the donut while you were racing. And then when you got to the finish line, you had to chug a beer. And it was very hard to do with a mouthful of donuts.
Oh my God! College party on hand.
It was pretty funny. It was like really the winner was this guy Tony Turner. He's like was an outdoor rep forever, but he works in town now. I saw him the other day. I was like, you won the very first ever one wheel race, and he's like, oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah. He's like, sweet. He was like the only guy with a V1 here, but yeah, the race was like Mike T and then Spencer Lacey, who was like a world class, is a world class stand up paddleboarder. It was all pro paddleboarders. And then from there, we became the biggest dealer. And then in that time, like after that year, started FloatLife Fest, I believe in 2017, and we did FloatLife 1. I was kind of like online all the time on Facebook, like kind of promoting, one wheels through our store and our store. I'm pretty much grassroots. I don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, so I spend a lot of time on Facebook and Instagram and all those channels to push whatever I'm doing. So it's I started kind of doing that, and I met people like Vito Campuzano from, Iowa International One Wheel Association, and Bob Nicholson from StokeLife, and John, and all these guys like, Jeff McCosker, all these dudes that were just like the like one guy in Missouri that's like Shane Autry, but that was like, hey man, I got a one wheel, cool. I wish we could all hang out and ride one wheels together. That would be neat, because there's nobody else in my town that has one, so. And kind of was just getting a lot of that on Facebook. And then, sort of was like, oh, well, cool, man. And sort of a dream venue, like a place here in Asheville called Deerfields. John Jay Redding, he owns. It's a beautiful venue out here. And a lot of like music festivals that happen there. And I put on for until this past year, a music festival for 24 years called French Broad River Festival. We had about 2,500 to 3,000 people that came every year. I had 3 partners in that, and just super fun, jam bands, all kinds of music, everything from Zydeco to reggae to blues, rock, whatever, all kinds of different things. We had a lot of cool bands. So I kind of wanted to mix that with one wheel, just have a big party, maybe some races. I thought that would be cool. So we kind of came up with a course. John Jay offered that venue to us to use. So we rented that from him as the store, and just, Southern Raft Supply presents FloatLife Fest. Originally I was going to call it the One Wheel Derby Weekend.
How'd you call it FloatLife Fest?
I kind of hated that, but everybody was hashtagging FloatLife,
okay.
And then
TFL was in business by then, right? I mean, this was because you're 7.
Jeff
okay.
had just started out, So I wrote Jeff at the time and was just like, "Hey, man, I know you just started this. I want to do this event called FloatLife Fest, since we're kind of all hashtagging that. I think that would be really cool." And Jeff was like, "Cool, man. How do I sign up?" And literally did a little video for me, and we're gonna do this, nothing like highly produced like the FloatLife does now.
Yeah,
it was a cool, I love it. It's still like a funny little video I love looking at here and there. And Jeff's like, we're gonna learn to do this, and it's like, him doing a little board slide on a curb and like nudging curbs, and and I borrowed a curb from a parking lot and brought it and we just had all these kind of funny, it was super grassroots, but about 80 people showed up, and it's really a lot of the guys that have been in the community since the beginning, and sort of a lot of the companies spawned out of it, the guys from Craft and Ride, all these, it was just, Jungle, One Wheel Jungle was there, just all these super, legendary older one wheelers, it's, and, just had a good time for the weekend, and all kind of really became friends. And then it just sort of, we did it again the next year there. And then,
What did the numbers go from year 1 to year 2?
80 the first year to about 200 the second year, 240 the second year, I think.
So over.
Then, sorry guys. And then about 240, and then the third year we did FloatLife Fest 3, and we did that at Rebranch, was owned by Oscar Blues.
Where's that at?
It was in Hendersonville, really near where Canoga is for Eastern Eastern One Wheel Racing League qualifiers coming up. About 8 miles from there. But they had a cool like dual slalom course that Red Bull built there for the Red Bull Rampage in 2013. And so we had an opportunity to rent that spot, and we ended up moving to there. They had really cool trails and access to DuPont. DuPont quickly shut us down as far as riding their trails. Once the event got started, I had given everybody like a copy of the law for North Carolina about electric assisted mobility devices. But it did say 2-wheeled electric devices. So they were able to be like, nope, you can't come in. But we still had a really great time. Everything was right on site. We did the dual slalom course. Jeff won the dual slalom in finals against Dom that year. It was really fun. Dom won our XR race that year. But there's the whole community was there. We had really, I got the skate park that year, and we had some concrete, and it was really big. I went up to about, I think there was about 350 there that year, something like that, but just felt huge, and everybody was camped right there in a big field, and really fun, just really changed. You could start feeling like the racing felt real, everything was, with the dual slalom, it definitely was like a cool new way to see the racing, and everybody lining the course and just watching it come downhill. After that, I'd planned on like growing roots there. Number of things happened there. We got the pandemic hit after that year. We had planned on being there initially, but then they also sold the property. And so the new owners weren't really ready to do anything like that. So I kind of, and we couldn't even have like really big meetups like that or anything. So I canceled FloatLife 4 during the pandemic. About 2 months prior to when we were supposed to have the event, Dom and I started kind of going out to Canoga, where we're going to do the qualifiers here for Easterns, riding out there. And we realized they were doing mountain bike races every Thursday with probably 100, 130, 40 people showing up. I'm like, oh, wow, they're doing this during the pandemic. That's cool. I bet we could do something out here.
Yeah. And
talk to them, and with their acreage and being outside and everything, they were actually able to have up to 200 people out there. So kind of quickly, like, just threw together FLF 3.5, and we ended up having about 130 people show up. Bart Miller, a lot of guys. Noah Mead. That was the first time I met Noah Mead.
Yeah.
The builds came out. A lot of folks, from a lot of Florida folks, states where they didn't have COVID. Those states came out, and now we had a good time. Nobody got COVID, thank God. The whole time I was just like, with things that the way they've all changed now, it's so different. But it's, right. At the time, very stressful, but we made it happen just to keep, things rolling. At that time, I was like, still like, we were getting into the next year. It was seeming like, I still need to keep people separated because of COVID. I went out and I met with the Dirt Surfers guys. Dom and I had been talking about going to Bentonville forever. We loaded up. Dom and I, throughout the pandemic, just kept going out to Bentonville and just riding. We'd meet up with Nick and Rachel, the Dirt Surfers, and hang out with them. And, props due to them. They showed us, we were just looking for a place to do FloatLife Fest. And then, they took us down the dual slalom. We're kind of like, we want to do this. We got their blessing, I didn't want to come, step on toes, but but we were also still ready to do an event somewhere, and I needed to kind of find a new home, and I really did want to do it very badly in Bentonville, just because it's the center of the mountain biking community. I feel it's a good way to get exposure. I feel like it's a good way for us to blend into that community and start being a part of it, so we're not like looked at as this weird thing. If we can start right there at the heart of it all,
right?
And,
I feel like we're the children of mountain biking communities because we're always like, oh, can we use your trails? Can we use and we're
well,
you know
and that's
what I mean?
it.
Like,
I mean, they had to do the same thing in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
Like people didn't want them there either, and some feel our pain, some don't. I definitely my buddy sent me a sign from a place out in Colorado the other day, and it was like, rules of the park, blah blah blah. And it was like one wheels and e-bikes. We believe in your movement, and like that was what it was like. It was
That's
like
awesome.
so to that effect. And I was like, well, that's awesome. That's really great that people are even recognizing us as that. At Canuga, they have a sign at the top of the hill that's like no one wheels allowed on this track, and it's the jump track. It's the downhill, like super. Dudes are doing like 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour down it, and skying over. You're taking a one wheeler's head off.
yeah,
So.
right.
It makes sense. I'm like, I love that sign. That's great. It makes sense. Like, cool. We'll respect those wishes. And that was my goal with Bentonville. I just really wanted to like integrate us more in there. Plus, I wanted to not ever have everybody camped on top of each other.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, well, everybody can get their Airbnbs. That's what kind of sort of happened at FloatLife 3.5. Everybody just had Airbnbs, hung out. And so I was like, okay, well, that's a format that can work. It's not the same feel. No, it's not that Seek and Shred or the old FloatLife Fest vibe where everybody's camped right there. But it's really cool to be in the place that just has like trails in every single direction. You can ride there. You can, go back to your house and chill for a few minutes, hang out, do what you need to do. Come back on. We have all the vendors. Everybody's hanging out. It's a really nice vibe up there. Kohler's a beautiful spot. It's a great place. And this year we got a lot of the international folks are coming back. Super excited about that. Like already, the folks that are starting Float the Highlands in Scotland next year for 2023, they're coming out.
Wow.
Folks like Chan Rides on Instagram and Swanky. You may see him, those guys.
He's made us some sweet little art and stuff in the past. He's baller.
Yeah, super nice folks, and I've been chatting with them a lot. Super great, and like helping them to get over here and figuring out logistics and that sort of thing. And I'm excited to maybe potentially go to Scotland next year and go check out their event. I think that would be super fun.
That'd be rad.
Cool. Just for myself and fun, just to go support and try to do that. And
so talking about growth here, like what like expected numbers this year for like the event, like what are you guys pushing?
Right now we're probably at a couple hundred tickets sold. I think we'll probably look at 500 to 700 people is my guess. Last year we were right around 500 people, with our staff and that sort of thing. I would say with our staff and vendors and that sort of thing, we'll probably be closer to 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Which is great, like good growth. I don't want to like get too crazy too fast and throw like Kohler off or any of those people. We do kind of have a limit out at Kohler, and if it gets bigger this year, then we'll look at new spots around for next year.
Gotcha.
So what are the details for this year? All right. I mean, I assume this is open to everybody. You buy a ticket. How do we?
Yeah. So basically, I get a lot of questions about that. Like, what's the money for? Why do I have to pay? Can I just go ride the trails? Yeah, you can go ride the trails for sure. Money's but we do have like a blocked off area for the like festival part where we have all of our vendors, and we lock that up at night. With police to make sure nothing gets stolen at night, anything like that. We kind of make sure our vendors are taken care of. But that gets you into that access area, and then we have generators in there for charging. There's really not much power out at Kohler. We rent these big giant generators. We get big swag bags. Generally, we include anything from T-shirts to things. All the vendors basically chip in. We give a big bag of goodies when you come in the door. We also we have medicals on site. We have just basically paying for all the infrastructure that we put in, and just the facility itself costs us a lot to rent for the weekend. It's a pretty big price tag, so it just pays for all that. It just assures that we have it like as the one wheel community for the weekend out at Kohler.
For sure. We don't ever question why people, events are like the least profitable thing you could do as a business. It's exposure.
It's pretty tough, but people want to know,
it's maximum fun, minimum profit.
Yeah.
it's not really what they're about. Yeah.
It's it's for the love, for sure. It's for the love. And it's but the race, I think, we'll probably try to, like the XR race this year, I'm sure we'll probably try to incorporate some of the other side of Kohler. We'll definitely do some new and interesting things with that. Yeah. Thunderdome, like I said, Thunderdome, the dual slalom, always a part of it, and that's a big part of it. Working on sponsors, all that right now, so we'll have more news on that very shortly. I'm sure we'll have folks like the FloatLife and Craft and Ride and Armadillos and Function and our normal, I know Stoke Life Service, Lemonade Flow Company, lots of folks like that have supported over the years. We really appreciate Flight Fins as well. I feel like if I leave a name out now, I'm like I have to say everybody right now because I'm like I don't want to need.
It's such a small community too. You can just basically be like the one wheel community. If you're a brand in the one wheel community at this point, you're pretty much like you're on the name of an event of some sort. Like there's not a lot of competition yet, so.
Right, and so that's all those folks I'm sure are going to be there as well. We're getting it all dialed in. Like I said, I'm going to go out there next week, and we're talking with Ryan. Dom has handled our Strava races. Last year we did the first annual World Ice Skating Championships out there. Yeah. So we'll continue that this year for the second annual. But I think we may work with Ryan and the One Wheel Underground Circuit and work with them a little bit on that as well. And put the Ice Skating Championships into that. And incorporate that with them. And he's got some really cool new things he's been working on that I'm excited to check out.
So FloatLife Fest and you also created Wheel Scorcher, correct?
Yeah, and Wheel Scorcher, last year I got involved, because of FloatLife Fest, because of my prior dealings with One Wheel. I had worked with One Wheel in a lot of events, and so they asked me to come on as the One Wheel Racing League commissioner. And so I did that last year, and I'm still commissioner this year. I came on when they invited me to come on. I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I really can't do it by myself. I need my team. Mm-hmm. And so we brought on John and Chelsea Grace, who've helped me with FloatLife Fest and just events prior to that. Known John and Chelsea for 100 years, forever, through kayaking. John's a legend. John, Adventurer of the Year for National Geographic, like just an epic, done these just epic trips, filming documentaries, all kinds of things, been in, and so got him and his team involved for the live stream. And Chelsea's amazing, works with Zone 4 timing and just logistics, everything. She's a whiz with all that. She is the one really behind a lot of the rankings for ORL. Chelsea, I give her full props for that. We all do votes. She runs all the beeps and boops and pops out the numbers and boom, and then so she's really the brawn behind that.
So with Wheel Scorcher and with FloatLife, I've had conversations with people in the past, like for new one wheelers getting into this space, I've been told with the FloatLife Fest was more like festival oriented, and is Wheel Scorcher got more festival, or is it like pure race? And how much race is
Wheel Scorcher is really more of a race now. Okay. That's sorry, but I got caught off topic. Yeah. But Wheel Scorcher basically comes out. We brought it out for the Eastern ORL last year. Kind of made it. It was a good time to start it. I was already talking to Fire Mountain. It was really close to where Dom grew up. Dom took us out to Fire Mountain the first time, a few years back with Dustin Temple and Sarah Temple and, some of the West Coast folks and a few other people from around here. I remember riding it the first time. I think it might have been right when the XR came out, maybe, or maybe just even pluses. I don't know how we would have run it with a plus, but basically, like, just I remember going down and Dom's like, we should do a race here. I was like, we're not doing a race here, dude. This is so hard. And then, a year or two after riding it a lot, it was like, oh, we should do a race here. Yeah, we should do a race here. So it was a perfect time. And the Cherokee, Eastern Band of the Cherokee have been awesome working with our friend Jeremy out there. He's amazing. Helps us pull off so much out there. And they've been really good to let us throw it on the reservation and let us have access to that whole. It's just an amazing spot. It literally butts up to the Smokies, and it's just a cool race. Very big, almost 3 mile downhill. So it's kind of an epic. And then this year we ran it as an enduro, similar to Dirt Surfer. So you had to go up twice and down twice, and then do like the last part, which was Skilly, which is about a mile section. So you were doing a lot of miles this year and a lot of uphill miles to get to the top. So, so it's really more like Dirt Surfers, just race vibe. Definitely a racer's race.
Yeah. So compared to FloatLife Fest, right? Which there's a lot more like, for
FloatLife Fest is for everybody. I want beginners. I want people that have never one-wheeled to come out and be able to meet like Bodie Harrison, meet Dom, meet Jeff McCosker, meet Mike and Nick from Craft and Ride. Like, meet all these guys that like they just see online, and then maybe even get to go ride with them. We do group rides with all these guys. We do rides with Dave Stewart. We do rides with everybody. We kind of we did the rides last year with Chavis Flag playing guitar along. And just like group rides like that are just one-offs that you might not get to do again. But it's just super fun. Really packed schedule working with the Drift Sisters. The Drift Sisters always do Grom and ladies rides and and then Wheel Film stuff. They as well do some ladies stuff, rides as well, and get to learn with Allie and Brenda and those folks, and really you just get to meet all these people. Ren and Javier last year were awesome on the live stream. They're so good. Like, just great folks. Follow us on YouTube. Check out the FloatLife Fest channel on YouTube. Yeah. We don't have a ton of followers. We post once a year, so we post here and there. So you'll get a big group of stuff at once. But still really fun. A lot of really fun stuff on there to check out. And we're doing that. And then this year I'm adding in Wheel-A-Ween, which will be Halloween weekend.
Nice.
In Ocala, Florida. And I'm really excited about that one. We're going to do that. Been working with Santos Trails down there, and we've got this super cool area called the Vortex. If you look up Santos Trails Vortex, it will be very much like FloatLife Fest 3 vibe, with camping in the field right next to everything. They just built – there was a trail called Indigo Flow that just looked awesome, and I went and checked it all out. And they just built a twin to Indigo Flow called Gemini. So there's a really sick, brand new dual slalom that nobody really knows about yet until now. And so we've got that booked for the weekend, and we're working with the town of Ocala, Florida. So it's going to be a really fun time. It's a good time of year for camping and not too hot in Florida. And it's also the least rainy month of the year in Florida. So it should be a really good event. I say that. Bring your tarps, hang them up, put them everywhere.
It's not a one-wheel event without rain, right?
Yeah, we've been lucky this summer, though. I have to say, Wheel Scorcher, not a drop. Nice. San Jose this past weekend, not a drop. It was, I think they could use some drops, but it was awesome. It was a great event this weekend. We had a really good time.
Awesome. I do want to touch on that a little bit too. Like with, I want to back up. You were talking about being commissioner for like the qualifiers and stuff for One Wheel, working with Future Motion and stuff. Like, what do you, how many races have you done that for? Like, which race of the rail did you start at? Like 2020 or?
During the pandemic, I went out with Dom to race for the rail. One Wheel invited me to come out, and I just kind of I was around. I kept being like, hey, if you guys need help, I'm here. I know how to run events. Let me know what I can do to help. And,
Right.
I ended up just being like the flag at the end of the race, which was super fun. I got to dump champagne all over Floaty when he won. It was really fun, really good time. And then Sarah, who is really like, she really runs everything for the ORL behind the scenes. She was like, oh, I should have recruited you more. It'd been great to have some help. And so like we, from there kind of started talking more. And then Onewheel just invited me to be like the commissioner and help out with the events. And then that's when I asked John and Chelsea to be part of it as well. Cause I just said I didn't really feel comfortable taking on that much myself.
Sure.
There's a lot behind the scenes that those guys do as well, that we kind of all team together. We're sort of, definite. I feel like a little, we have our little team, and it works really well together. We know how to read each other. We know what's going on with each other. We know when this person needs space to go do this, to make that happen, and we all know that we all work hard to make it all happen on the fly, and we'll make it happen, and that's really a lot of event organizing, is just like, if something's going weird, how do I deal with it quickly?
Right.
And when it's going well, we're all like, what's getting ready to go wrong? But it feels really good. Like this weekend was such a great weekend, have positive vibes all weekend, and really like smooth racing, great racing at that, Lake Cunningham was a beautiful facility. But yeah, so we just, I brought them on, and we kind of have been running that team since. And when, last year we had some incidents where, it would have been nice to have more than just me making a decision with everyone, like those guys are doing their thing. John's running the live stream, Chelsea's running timing, and I'm generally running around just making sure everyone's happy, making sure things are happening. We're all on radios together. I'm trying to usually either running the starting line, something like that, running numbers up there, texting back and forth to different people, just 3 radios. There's literally San Jose, 2 radios and 2 phones, all at the starting line, trying to make sure everything's happening. So we worked together on that, and then just but we had some incidences where it would have been nice, like when I had to make a decision with racers, that sort of thing, to have more than just me be like, this is what we just have to do right now,
Right.
or people arguing that's not fair, anything like that. So what we did is we formed the committee this year. I asked Nick Payne from Dirt Surfers and Manuel Soto from Seek and Shred to be on the committee with me. Longtime, organizers and folks that are, have their own events and know that they also know how to run and make things happen as well. And I think they're great on the fly and have dealt with races. And so I trust their decisions, and we work together to come up with a solution. And this was our first real event together. It was just this past weekend. It was really awesome. It was great. If something was going down, we all met up, talked, chatted, got things done, and worked together, and could feed off of each other's strong points. And it was really nice.
Very cool. And
That sounds awesome.
How, because you'll be coming up here and you'll be at qualifiers, right? You're going to be Eastern?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. That's at Canoga down here where we did FLF 3.5.
Okay.
They've just added a whole bunch of new stuff out there. Really, the fact that we're getting that whole place for the weekend to ourselves is pretty epic in its own right, just because it's really become one of the best mountain bike parks in the Southeast right now. And it's amazing trails, really, really well manicured, well groomed, and they just built a really cool skills park and a bunch of new jump lines that we're going to probably tap into a little bit. That should be really cool.
The competition sounds kind of hot this year too, right? I mean, new riders versus some people coming out of the woodworks versus your OGs and stuff. How's that playing out? Just seeing it.
There's, people want to be in there, man. They want to go to Race for the Rail. I'm already getting friends from California, well, I'm coming to Easterns, I didn't make it at Westerns. I got to come out, so can I camp in your yard, bro?
What's the prize money for finals again? What's it?
I should know that, but we haven't really come. I mean, it's at least 10,000.
Okay.
I think last year it was 10K per rider, if I remember correctly. And I'm sure it will be at least that. I would imagine. And then I know
you gotta have something to pay for all those board repairs, right?
yeah. No, but yeah, that's they it'll be a substantial amount. I can say that.
Sure.
It'll be well worth the trip out there. And then and we're coming up with some really fun, like other events that we can kind of put on as well out there, like similar to the relay races.
Okay.
Things like that we did last year at Race for the Rail.
Very cool. What are you what are you expecting for finals this year? Like the event in Reno, like is it all just race as well? Race for the Rail? Is there like vendors and stuff to come out? Like
it's mainly there'll be probably a couple vendors, maybe some folks that have but it won't be like it's mainly it's Onewheel's big Super Bowl,
Sure.
so that's it'll be mainly a Onewheel
spectators.
Oh yeah, spectators,
okay.
Please, yes. If you want to come check it out, once you find out, but Reno, it's really close to Reno, so you're kind of looking in that Reno, Tahoe, Truckee, somewhere in that area. So if you're in any of those areas, you'll be pretty close.
Very cool, dude. Hell yeah. For Justyn's radar, right? Like you told us a little bit about Wheeloween, which is I think it's a great idea for a festival.
It's Halloween costumes. Bring
right.
the costumes. That's the main thing. Bring
I'll
costumes.
I'll ride around in my dead mouse head.
Dude, you got to bring that. I saw that the other day. That's awesome.
That's a great. And any other little things, kind of up your sleeve ideas, like little things you're thinking of yet, or anything you're willing to talk about yet?
I mean, right now, I think I'm pretty I'm kind of maxed, man. Honestly, I have a lot going on, and then I'm also, like I said, I am getting into the real estate world, and so I'm selling real estate here in Asheville, North Carolina. So if you need a house, holler at your boy.
Hi.
But yeah, so getting started with that, and so I really do want to put some focus on that. But I am just enjoying what I'm doing right now. I between ORL and the events that I have, I really enjoy those, and I think that for me, that's people are always like, well, you got to do an event here and there, and I'm like, I can only do so many. I mean, that's 6 events right there, and then I still. I managed to go to Oak City Shred Fest. I love those guys. I won't miss Oak City Shred Fest. Always a fun time. Josh, Chandra, all that.
It was a great time.
I love that crew. They're such good folks, and so I'll always go to Oak City, and that I went to Peddler's Pass by Fred Cunningham in Austin in January. That's where I got COVID. Woo! Good times in Austin in the Airbnb the whole time. And then, Stoke Bird that I highly recommend people go check out.
Corey's event, man. That was underrated.
So much fun. It was to me, almost the most fun I had all year as far as events, because I love Miami. February, I'm ready to get the hell out of the winter here, and Miami is a beautiful cure for that. And Corey did an awesome job of guerrilla style, epic one-wheel rides, and
there's
I've been to Miami
the games
so
and
many
shit,
times.
all that. I remember seeing a bunch of the stories coming through, the little the scavenger hunt. And...
Yeah, and I've never seen Miami like that. I've been there so many times. I used to go every year, for Miami Boat Show, and I learned more about Miami that trip than I ever have. I saw parts that I'd never seen. Just really cool. If you want to learn Miami and just see the backbone of Miami, everything, go to this event. Stoke Bird was so fun for me.
Shout out Corey.
Just at any event I'm not working, I'm having a really good time. So it's if I'm not working, I'm just trying to have fun. So it was great.
I'm curious about your daily life. You're you're doing the real estate thing. You're working on these events presumably all year. What's your ride schedule like just for you on the weekdays?
Honestly, I'm going to meet a real estate client here in just a few, and we're going to talk, and then I'm bringing a GT so he can try out the GT. He's got a Vesk, and so we're, I mean, it's cool. Like, like I'm getting still to work with that community all of a sudden. Now I just get to help them find a house, and so we're going to go have fun doing it, and but
every house must include at least 3 miles of trails.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like. Like I've kayaked and I trail ride and I do all these things, and so like I want to incorporate that into my like real estate career. That's where I'm like, I have this cool advantage because I know those little back spots. I can be like, oh, dude, you want to ride some sick trails? I'll put you in Bent Creek here. This is an awesome neighborhood for that. You want to do this? Oh, let's go look out in Brevard. You could be right near Pisgah. You could be doing this, that, So there's a lot of stuff around here like that. There's so many great trails around us and great rivers. If you want to go kayak the French Broad, you should be looking in Marshall. Where do you want to be? So that sort of thing. That's incorporated into it. I've kind of always lived very much where I travel, I do things. My moniker on Instagram is Captain Adventure.
Yeah.
Years ago got that just because like I was just always traveling, doing things. I've been pretty open to trying new things kind of all my life, and so I'm not just one wheeling. I do a lot of different things. I try to kayak, a lot. I try to raft, but I still ride a ton. I ride a lot around town. I go hit up trails. All these events. It may not look like I'm riding much, but I'm generally riding everywhere, on the backside of everything, like just trying to get around quickly and, doing it. And I go, any event, I'm always going to those trails prior to like months out, trying out all those trails. I'm like, if I can ride that, racers are going to be fine, like it'll be good. We're going to have fun with it. That's the deal. So I'm not going to send somebody down something that I just don't, I think is too gnarly or whatever.
What's,
the send sessions and things like that at dirt surfers, if people are hucking, that's kind of a whole different deal. I don't ride, to huck things. I'm not like I'm 49 years old. My things are breaking at this point. Like I'm trying to I'm packing up.
Dude, some of the old shredder. I was just gonna say, I'll send Travis down here while you're selling houses, and he'll just build somebody a fucking trail. Like, the older shredders, man. Some of you guys are still killing it. There's a bunch of, Dave Stewart, he's early 40s, Shane Autry, all these guys are super fast and still, Ed Wolverton, man, God, dude, he's like, I think he's 53 and just so much faster than most people. Like he's so fast. But we don't take hits like the young guys. Yeah, so, I was gonna say I want to bring it back. I'm gonna bring back. We used to ask this question, then I just now remembering it. What's your best nosedive story?
Man, I'll tell you, this is kind of funny. And it's probably I can't even find it on my Facebook, but my first Facebook Live ever.
Okay.
So this is so stupid. Like, we were selling V1s still. We were all riding V1s. I had like gotten like, there used to be on the One Wheel app a top speed, not just overall miles. There was top speed.
Okay.
So people were trying to get the top speed. Like, so it was encouraging carnage, like full on carnage encouragement. It was
you're talking to the leaderboards. Is that what you're?
Yeah, there was a speed leaderboard.
Oh my gosh!
In the very beginning,
some of the people on the groups are flipping out about like the cheaters or whatever with mileage. I can't imagine speed.
It was nuts, dude. It was nuts. But you could like, so like we were all trying to go pretty fast. My buddy here in town, not many people had boards back then. So it was like, you could see yourself on the leaderboard. You'd be like, oh, there, and like I was in Vegas and in a flat parking lot, I got like 27. I made the leaderboard for like a day. I was so stoked. I was like, it was a big day for JT. I was fired up. I was stoked. But then like, so, probably like, few weeks later, we're at another trade show. We're in Salt Lake City, and we did a big ride with a bunch of people. And we're going down this like steep ass hill, and I won't lie, I had a couple cocktails.
Every good story starts with a couple cocktails.
So, yeah, I was feeling a little like brave, like all right, and I don't know. I like took my phone. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna Facebook Live. I've never done that. I'm going to Facebook Live Arts Ride. And I'm like, yeah, we do our little ride every year. And then something in my brain, I was just like, I'm going to go as fast as I can down this mountain. And I went, "Brr," and it just like, I don't even know. Like it went from like me being like, there's all our friends to like, "Brr," and then you just hear like the V1 kind of, and then, and then phone flies. And like, I just like fully like, I ran it. I just remember being like, I just want the grass, and, like running and, like kind of made it over, tumbled, like hammered my ankle. It was just like, oh God, why did I do that? Like just so dumb. But yeah, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny at the time, I just like got back on the one wheels. Like all my friends were like, what the hell did you just do? And I was like, I don't know. That was dumb. And I just like got on my board and like slowly rode home. And,
That's
humbled by the one wheel. Yeah.
Nosedive shame. That moment when you're off of it. Especially when you're
Nosedive shame.
That was really dumb. I'm very sober now, and that was dumb.
That's that moment. We've all been there too.
Yeah.
Where, like,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, when you're group rides and you like nosedive in traffic or something, and like all the cars are just looking at you, and you're like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get my board.
Generally cross streets better than this. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
Yes.
What is he on right now? Did he just fall?
Yeah.
I know, it's pretty funny. I was like,
That's a hilarious story. Well, I think we're about out of time for you, man.
Yeah,
I know
you
got 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, well, man, it's been great talking to you guys. I mean, is there anything else? Like, I mean, I'm happy.
Let's give your shameless plugs out, man. Obviously, like you found a Wheel Scorcher, so you got the Wheel Scorcher Instagram, you got the FloatLife Fest Instagram, your Captain Adventure on Instagram, right? Anywhere else?
Wheeloween.
Wheeloween's coming up, yeah.
Wheeloween's on there.
Okay.
And then that's those are the ones. They're all the same. It's they're same as the website is the same as all of them. Wheeloween.com, which doesn't have anything on it, so don't go there yet.
What's the best way for people to reach out to you for like
real estate? How do they get a hold of you to buy real estate?
I mean, I have a Justyn Thompson realtor. I have Justyn Thompson.exp realty on Instagram. So yeah, check me out there, JustynThompson.exp realty. It's very different than a lot of my other stuff. It's me doing cornball, weird Instagram content stuff. So a little different than what you'll see on most of the other pages. You'll actually see me interacting instead of just like super good riders. And that's so I'm doing that now. Yeah, so definitely. If you're moving to Asheville, want to be near some trails, anything like that, hit me up for sure.
For sure.
Where do people go to buy tickets to your events?
FloatLifeFest.com right now for FloatLife Fest. And then, like I said, we will have Wheeloween.com here up in the next, few weeks, something like that. Kai Miller is doing our graphics for it, Swerve Clothing. So he did our Wheeloween graphics. A big shout out to him. Yeah, and I know that a lot of the Florida folks are super pumped about Wheeloween already. Like it's,
Sounds
just
good.
being so like barely just announced. People are fired up and on board, so I'm really excited about that one. And it's going to be a really great venue for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and be kind of back to that roots of like camping and hanging out with each other and just getting nutty in a field and
dude. I'm stoked. I'll be reaching out again, especially after the episode, see if we can either plug into FloatLife Fest somehow, or if we can.
Would love that, man. Definitely want to get you guys out there for sure, man.
Dude.
It wouldn't be the same without you, and so it'd be super fun to get you all out there for sure. It's sounding like I talked to Ren this weekend. It sounds like he might come out and hang again and help us do some of the live stream stuff. So that's exciting. I'm not going to say for sure yet because things can change.
Taylor's back here getting a rager.
He's a Ren fanboy
That is like
for sure.
the one
Ren's the
person
man.
that I want
Ren's
to meet.
awesome.
He's so
And everyone's
awesome.
like, I'll talk to people like, yeah, I just saw him. I'm like, motherfuckers.
Dude, he did wear our sweatshirt on one of his videos, and we
Yes.
were all like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit!"
Yes.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
he's such a great guy, and he's so into one wheel and just like big heart, cool dude. Super fun to hang out with, and
Yeah.
You can't
and
say
I'm sure I'll be talking to Javier as well. And,
You can't say I have a rager because if he ever sees this, he'll be like, I want to meet that guy. He's weird.
It's like, that's really awkward.
Absolutely, I could say it.
I mean, you are weird.
Everybody can get fucking pwned. If you come on the pushback, be expected to be made fun of somehow.
Be expected for Taylor to get a rager.
Hey, you know, some people have an effect on people.
Dude, it's all good. Yeah,
On
yeah.
that note,
Everybody's got their things.
Dude, thanks so much for coming on our show, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Justyn,
man, it was great to see all you guys. Peace out.
It was awesome
Dude.
talking, man. Take care.
Thank you very much. And that concludes episode 2
Episode
of
2.
season 2 with our homie Justyn Thompson. He'll be bringing us bazillion events moving forward and your best house. So with all the included trails.
Yeah.
And
What you need.
we got it. He's the trail dealer
Yeah, the plug.
under the table here. Just a little bit of trails.
Well,
Dude,
thanks,
Justyn,
fellas.
thank you.
Thank you.